Imagine this. November 1899, South Africa. A young war correspondent sits in a prison for prisoners of war. He is 25 years old. He is the son of a British aristocrat, but now he is nobody. Just a prisoner of the Boers in a school that was turned into a prison in Pretoria. He writes letters. He begs them to let him go free. They say no. Then he makes a decision that will change his life forever. He decides to escape. Alone, without a plan, not knowing the language, in the middle of enemy territory. This man is Winston Churchill, and this is the story of how his crazy escape made him a national hero. So let's go back a little bit. Churchill at this time is not a soldier. He is a war correspondent for the newspaper called the Morning Post. They pay him a lot of money, £250 per month, which is a huge amount for that time. But Winston could never just watch. He wanted glory, adventure. He wanted to become famous. War was his chance. On November 15th, 1899, he gets on an armored train that is going on a reconnaissance mission. This is already dangerous. Armored trains were slow, noisy, and easy targets. But Churchill wants to be where the action is. And then disaster begins. The Boers set up an ambush. They put rocks on the railway tracks. The train comes around a corner at full speed and crashes. Wagons fall off the rails. The Boers start shooting from the hills. Bullets are flying everywhere. Churchill, although he is formally a journalist, takes control. He runs along the train under fire, shouting orders. He helps push the damaged wagon off the tracks. He helps wounded soldiers get into the engine car. He works for over an hour under constant gunfire. Several times bullets pass very close to him. He could leave on the engine with the driver to safety. But he goes back for the others. He walks back along the tracks to check if everyone is safe. And that's when the Boer patrol surrounds him. There are 3 or 4 men on horses. They point their rifles at him. Churchill reaches for his pistol, but he doesn't have it. He left it on the train because journalists don't carry weapons. He raises his hands. He is a prisoner of war. They take him to Pretoria, the capital of Transvaal, and lock him in the State Model School, a building that was turned into a camp for officers. The conditions there are not too bad. The prisoners get food, they can walk in the yard, play cards, read books. Some officers don't mind staying there until the war ends. It's safe, it's comfortable enough. But Churchill cannot accept this. He feels like a caged animal. Every day in prison feels like a waste of his life. He is young, ambitious, he has big plans. He cannot just sit and wait. He writes official letters to the Boer government. He argues that he was an unarmed correspondent and should be released according to the rules of war. He writes again and again. But the Boers know the truth. This man fought like a soldier. He led the rescue operation under fire. He was not just watching and writing. They refused to let him go. Churchill becomes desperate. He writes in his diary that he feels terrible, that every day is torture. Then he decides he will escape. He is not the only one thinking about this. 2 other officers, Captain Haldane and Sergeant Brocky, also want to escape. Together, they develop a plan. In the yard, there is a metal fence about 2 meters high. Behind it is a narrow street, then another fence, then freedom. The plan is simple. Wait until the guard turns away, climb over the fence and run. But there is a big problem. The guard almost never turns away for long enough. He walks back and forth along the fence, smoking, watching. The prisoners wait day after day for the right moment. They also discuss what to do after escaping. The nearest friendly territory is Mozambique, a Portuguese colony. Portugal is neutral in this war, but Mozambique is almost 500 kilometers away to the east. They will need to follow the railway line through enemy territory. They will need food, water, luck. Churchill studies everything he can. He asks other prisoners about the geography. He tries to memorize the railway map, but he doesn't speak Afrikaans or Dutch. If someone stops him and asks questions, he won't be able to answer. This escape is almost suicidal, but he doesn't care. Anything is better than prison. December 12th, 1899. Evening. The day has finally come. Churchill, Haldane, and Brocky sit in the shadow of the veranda, watching the guard. They watch him for hours. He walks to the left, then to the right. Stops, smokes, looks at the prisoners. Time passes slowly. It's getting dark. Finally, around 7 o'clock in the evening, something happens. The guard turns away to light a cigarette. He walks to the corner of the building. For a few seconds, he cannot see the fence. Churchill doesn't think. His body just moves. He runs across the yard as fast as he can and jumps at the fence. He climbs over it and drops on the other side. He lands hard on the ground. His heart is beating so fast he can hear it in his ears. He presses himself against the wall in the shadows and waits for his friends. But they don't come. He waits 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. He hears nothing. The guard must have come back, and Haldane and Brocky cannot climb over. They are still on the other side of the fence. Churchill is alone now, on the wrong side of the fence, in the middle of the enemy capital. This is the moment when he could still go back. He could climb back over the fence. He could say it was a mistake. Nobody had seen him yet. But he doesn't go back. He decides to continue alone. He has almost nothing with him. No compass, no map, no food except 4 bars of chocolate. He has some British money in his pocket, about 75 pounds. But British money is not very useful in Boer territory. He doesn't speak the language. If anyone asks him anything, his accent will immediately give him away. But Churchill starts walking. He straightens his hat, tries to look calm and casual, and walks into the streets of Pretoria like he belongs there. His plan is very simple. Walk east, find the railway line, follow it to Mozambique. The streets are not empty. There are people walking, talking, laughing. There are Boer soldiers on patrol. Churchill passes close to several groups of armed men. Every time he expects someone to shout, to point at him, to shoot. But nobody pays attention to him. In the darkness, in his civilian clothes, he looks like just another person. He walks for about an hour through the town, his heart racing the whole time. Finally, he reaches the edge of Pretoria. He finds the railway line and starts following it east, into the darkness. Now comes the really difficult part. He walks all night along the railway tracks. The night is dark, but not completely black. The moon gives some light. He can see the rails shining in front of him. He walks and walks, trying to put distance between himself and Pretoria. By morning, he is exhausted and hungry. He has been walking for about 12 hours. He eats some chocolate, but it's not enough. He is thirsty too. He finds a small stream and drinks water, but he doesn't know if it's safe. Around him is open countryside. He can see farms in the distance. Every farm belongs to Boers. Any person he meets could recognize him, could turn him in. There is a reward for escaped prisoners. People would be happy to catch him. Churchill hides during the day in a small forest. He tries to sleep but cannot. He is too nervous, too uncomfortable. The ground is hard, insects are biting him. He keeps thinking, what am I doing? This is crazy. I will never make it to Mozambique. But when night comes again, he starts walking. He follows the railway line east. He walks all night again. By the morning of the second day, He is in terrible condition. He has barely slept. He has almost no food left. His feet hurt from walking. He realizes he cannot continue like this for many more days. He needs help. But where can he get help? He is in the middle of Boer territory. Every house, every farm belongs to the enemy. If he knocks on the wrong door, they will capture him immediately. They will send him back to prison, maybe to a worse prison this time. But he has no choice. He cannot survive alone in the wild. He needs food, water, rest. He needs someone to hide him. In the distance, he sees lights from a house near the railway. It's a big house, probably a manager's house for some mining operation. Churchill watches it for a long time. This is the biggest risk of his life. If he chooses wrong, everything is over. Finally, he makes his decision. He walks to the house and knocks on the door. A man opens it. He is middle-aged, looks at Churchill with surprise. Churchill is dirty, tired, desperate. He doesn't have time for a clever story. He just tells the truth. "I am an escaped prisoner of war," Churchill says in English. "I need help. Will you help me?" There is a long moment of silence. The man stares at him. Churchill waits for the answer that will decide his fate. And then something incredible happens. The man looks around quickly, then says, "Come in fast. Don't let anyone see you." The man's name is John Howard. He is British. He is the manager of a coal mine. He is the only British person for many, many miles around. Out of all the houses Churchill could have chosen, out of hundreds of Boer farms, he knocked on the door of the one house with a British person inside. It's almost impossible to believe. The luck is extraordinary. Churchill himself later said it was like a miracle. Howard quickly explains the situation. He is sympathetic to Britain, but he has to be very careful. If the Boers discover he is hiding an escaped prisoner, they will arrest him, maybe execute him. But he agrees to help. He takes Churchill to the coal mine. Deep in the mine, in the darkness, there is a small space among the tunnels. Howard hides Churchill there. It's dark, damp, full of rats. Churchill has to stay there in complete darkness for 3 days while Howard figures out what to do. For 3 days, Churchill sits in the mine. He cannot see anything. He can hear rats moving around him. Sometimes he lights a small candle for a few minutes just to keep from going mad. Howard brings him food and water secretly, but Churchill feels like he is going crazy in the darkness. Finally, Howard has a plan. There is a train leaving the mine carrying wool to Mozambique. They will hide Churchill in the train among the bales of wool. It's risky. The train might be searched at the border, but it's the only chance. On December 16th, 4 days after his escape, they put Churchill in a freight car. They build a small space for him among the wool bales. There is barely enough air. Churchill lies there in the darkness as the train starts moving. The train travels slowly east. Every time it stops, Churchill thinks, "This is it. They will search now. They will find me." But the train keeps moving, hour after hour. The journey takes almost 2 days. Finally, early in the morning, the train crosses the border into Mozambique. Churchill is still hiding. He doesn't know where he is. Then the train stops. Churchill carefully climbs out from the wool. He looks around. He sees a sign with Portuguese words. He is in Portuguese territory. He is free. He walks to the nearest town and finds the British consulate. When he walks in, dirty and exhausted, the consul stares at him in shock. By this time, news of Churchill's escape has traveled around the world. The British newspapers are full of stories about young Churchill's miraculous escape. The Boers have put a price on his head. £25 reward for his capture. Churchill is a hero. He is famous. But what does he do next? Most people would go home to Britain, enjoy the fame, rest. Not Churchill. He immediately goes back to the war zone. He gets an army commission this time. Now he is officially a soldier, not just a journalist. And he continues fighting. He participates in several battles. He is there when the British Army marches into Pretoria. And one of the first things he does is go to the State Model School, the prison he escaped from, and personally help free the prisoners there, including Haldane and Brocky, the men he had planned to escape with. Imagine that moment. He returns to that prison, but this time as a victor, as a liberator. He walks through those same gates, sees those same walls, but now he is free, and his friends are being freed because of the British victory. When Churchill finally returns to England in 1900, he is greeted like a conquering hero. People crowd the streets to see him. He gives speeches about his adventures. He writes a book about his escape called London to Ladysmith via Pretoria. The book becomes a bestseller. Everyone wants to read about his amazing adventure. The escape from the prison in Pretoria was not just an adventure. It was not just a lucky break. It showed the world who Winston Churchill really was. It showed his courage, his determination, his refusal to accept defeat. That same spirit, that same stubborn courage would appear again 40 years later, when he led Britain through the darkest days of World War II. Could that 25-year-old young man, hiding in a dark coal mine, surrounded by rats, have imagined that one day he would be one of the greatest leaders in history?